All right, there we are. We are live. So let's see. All right. So we're just getting started. It usually takes a while for people to pop in. Do you have the chat on the right side there?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay, so you can see it too. So you could see like one person just popped in. Don't know who it is, but whoever's there, say hi. Let us know who you are.
Yeah, it did not show up
So,
on my end.
oh, now it says 0. It's gone now. So they popped in and then they dropped out. Um, okay. Well, that's all right. We'll just go ahead and start, and then as people pop in, they can catch up. So, all right, guys, here we are. Welcome to the Affordable Armory Show live, episode 3. I am super excited about this one. If you've watched my channel for any time, you probably already know who my guest is today. I've talked about him many times in my videos. Um, really great guy. I know that he watches my channel, and I definitely watch his channel. And so I'm excited to get to talk to him tonight. So please welcome Riders Range. Go ahead and tell everyone who you are, what you do in the firearms industry, and your history with guns, that type of stuff.
Yeah, hi, Riders Range. Let's see, we've been actually the end of this month will be our 3-year anniversary up on YouTube, and kind of started on I won't say on a whim, but I hummed and hawed for a good 2 years while collecting 1911s, trying to figure out what I was going to do with them, and that kind of snowballed from there. And I finally decided that, well, hey, let's make a video out of it, and it started, and my wife and I agreed, well, we'll try it for a year and see how it goes. And here we are 3 years later, and it's still going. So I'm still having fun. Um, as far as being in the firearms industry, I work part time for a gun range, teaching CPL classes, private lessons, and running shooting leagues. And actually, I just got back from our Wednesday night shooting league here about a half hour ago, and we run those every Wednesday night. Shooting steel beats the heck out of shooting paper, and it's become kind of a popular attraction at our range.
That's cool. I actually started shooting steel when I was getting into guns. I was down in Texas, and I was going to an outdoor range, and they had the steel plate. They had the Texas Star and the plate rack and all that good stuff. And yeah, I definitely missed that. That's way more fun to hear that ping, ping.
Yeah, we started a paper league many years ago, and I did different scenarios with paper and tried to amp it up a little bit. We had a beginner, well, I call it beginners or intermediate league, and then a more advanced league. And then at the end of one of them, I brought out the plate rack and the centerfire plate rack, and everybody loved it. And people said, let's do more plates and less paper. And now that's all we do. Starting in September, we do centerfire league 1 month, then switch to rimfire, alternate back and forth rimfire and centerfire each month until May. And then June, July, and August, we just do a fun shoot once a month, and then get back into doing all 4 Wednesdays back in September again. And we only do it for about 2.5 hours every Wednesday evening, so I limit it to about 25 people, and I've got people that I mean it fills up as soon as we post it. So a lot of fun, and like I say, it beats the heck out of shooting just punching holes in paper. Problem with punching holes in paper is I had to score all the targets, and that took longer than running the shooting league.
Yeah. We have I don't shoot it. I'm not really a competition shooter, but we have IDP at my range. I think that's the same thing, like a couple of steel targets, but it's mostly shooting the silhouette, and so they have, after each run, they have to go and count all the shots and put the little paper sticker things over it so that the next person can shoot. I don't know, just never really been interested in that.
Yeah, and that gets time consuming. Shooting steel. Although if you run it full steel challenge, you're supposed to paint the targets between each shooter. And we ran one like that. We had was it 2 months ago? There were 5 Wednesdays. So on the fifth Wednesday, I did 2 different steel challenge type scenarios on the indoor range, and had to limit the participants in that. And we had to hustle. Just everybody was running down with a paint can, getting things painted, and And it was kind of fun. But for the Centerfire League, we shoot a plate rack with 6 8-inch plates on it. And the first night is nice and simple just to get people used to it. And then I kind of amp it up each week after that. Next week, we'll have an 8-inch offset stop plate. And then we'll paint one of the plates on the rack green and have that as a start plate. And then you still have to go to the offset plate for a start and then back to the. So we try to amp it up a little bit each time. And then the last night, they can't have more than 8 rounds in a mag for 8 plates. And any
Oh,
shot
wow.
any shot that it takes more than 8 to get the 8 plates, they get a half second added penalty time.
Oh, okay.
So makes people concentrate a little bit. And then for rimfire, we're using 4-inch plates at 9 yards instead of the 8-inch plates at 12.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of fun. It's for members only at the range, but it helps boost membership. A lot of people have become members just so they can shoot steel.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good way to encourage more involvement in the shooting community. Doing something different, like just shooting steel in general, as you talked about, is it's a different sensation when you hear, like you said, when you hear that ping of hitting the steel target than it is of putting a hole through a paper.
Yeah, and all of our targets are reactive, so we shoot the plate rack.
Yeah,
The plates go down, or
they fall
don't go
down.
down. And then for the offset plates, I've got them. I hang them actually from fire hose,
Hmm.
and that way you hit the plate, it's obviously going to move. Even with a rimfire, they move a little bit. So again, people are seeing things, seeing the reaction, and trying to convince people that slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Hmm.
Sometimes gets a little challenging.
Yeah. I've actually got it's in my closet. I've got a dueling tree that I won it in a competition, believe it or not.
Cool.
So, not really a competition. It was at the range, at another range here in town, and it was who could get the smallest group, and I got the smallest group with the
Wow.
rifle, and I was like, cool. So I won like a $600 steel target. I was pretty happy about that.
Cool. Do you take it out and shoot it?
No, I have not. That's the thing. I don't have anywhere to take it really. I need to start looking into these outdoor ranges and or save money and build one like yours.
Yeah, well, mine was kind of a long time coming. And actually, just since I retired, actually, just probably the last 3 years or so, it's built up to almost where I want it. And even though we've been in this house for what have we been here, almost 33 years. I just had when I was shooting PPC is when we moved out here, and I just had a range that I could just shoot the stationary PPC silhouette target at 7, 15, 25, and 50. And then finally started doing the steel.
Yeah. So let's switch gears for a second and talk about what I brought you on the channel to talk about. Because you have a post on your website called The Great Affordable 1911, and you talk about what affordable means. And that really hit home because this is the Affordable Armory. And it actually changed my own definition of it, because I used to think like $500 was about what I would consider affordable, what I thought most people in general would consider affordable. And you have a totally different definition of affordable. So talk about that for us.
Yeah, and again, I know I've taken some heat for calling a $1,600 gun affordable,
Yeah,
but my
me
range,
too.
well, yeah, I mean, but if you look at the at my website where I define what I say is affordable, the range is from 400 to 1,600. So I mean, obviously, you're going up in scale 4 times there, but I explain how a $1,600 gun can become affordable. And it's all a matter of priorities. I know some people who claim they can't rub 2 nickels together, but yet they're never out of beer, they're never out of cigarettes, and they've got a 72-inch flat panel TV hanging in their living room.
Right.
So it's all a matter of priorities and what you're willing to spend your money. In fact, we were talking about it after the league tonight about who's going to spend $2,000 on a gun. Well, first of all, there are a lot of people who will think nothing of dropping $50,000 on a gun,
Sure.
but that's not my class at all.
Yeah.
But so again, it's a matter of priorities and a matter of perspective. But it if you really want a quality, um, and I won't say striker fired guns aren't quality, but if you want a quality 1911, which is mainly how this started out, you can easily get $1,000 gun. And now $1,000. The first time I bought $1,000 gun, it wasn't that long ago, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just spent $1,000 on a gun. That's crazy.
Yeah, me
And
too.
about a month later, I spent $1,000 on another gun.
Mhm.
And then I'm thinking, oh man, I got to justify this somehow. So I sold my Python,
Mhm.
and biggest mistake I ever made selling my
Oh
Python.
yeah.
I wish I had that gun back. Box stock. Used it to win my distinguished medal for the NRA, Elias and sights, original box and grips, and I sold anyway. So
Wow. Yeah.
that's all because I bought a couple of guns that I paid $1,000 for.
Mhm.
But you stop to think about it. If if people regularly stop on their way into work and they stop at Starbucks and get their double whip mocha, whatever the heck it is they get, and a
Mhm.
croissant or something, they're going to spend $6 or $7. Have your breakfast at home every day. You work 250 days a year, so have your breakfast at home every day for 250 days, and have a couple of pieces of toast or a bowl of Wheaties and a couple cups of coffee, and you're going to save
Mhm.
$6 or $7 a day. Multiply that times 250, and it's not hard to then, over the course of a year, be able to justify buying that 1,000, 1,200, even $1,500 gun.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. And last year alone, I was looking at it. The SIG Emperor Scorpion, that's a $1,400 gun or
Yeah,
$1,600 gun, where whatever it's going for now. I bought uh, the Mark 25, the P226 Mark 25, which was really $800 gun, but going for $1,200, $1,400 these days. Um, I
yeah,
bought an AR that was over $1,000. Um, I probably bought 5 or 6 guns that were over $1,000, and didn't even like until I looked back at it. And the War Poet, that was the other one, the War Poet pistol. Um, I don't know if you're familiar with that one. It's
right.
you are, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's the Shadow Systems block clone kind of thing, and that's a $1,200 pistol too. And uh, people were saying exactly that, like, how is that affordable? That's not affordable gun. That's cost so much money. And I'm like, it's a matter of priorities. To me, I really wanted, so I I did kind of like what you did. I looked at my gun safe and I was like, all right, what can I get rid of? So I did sell a couple of them. Um, but it's also, guns are my thing. That's the thing that I have no problem now spending money. I'm not into cars, I'm not an outdoors guy or whatever, so I think that, people that go hiking and they spend $400 on a backpack are out of their minds. But to them, they're like, I need this $400 backpack.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
guys that, ride motorcycles and they trick it out and they've got to have the super fancy exhaust on there and the big old handlebars and all that type of stuff. And it's okay, cool. That's your thing. That's what you're willing to spend money on. And so you think it's ridiculous for people like us to go buy a $1,600 pistol, and I don't. you know.
Well, the other thing too is you don't always have to buy new to get quality. You mentioned Sig Scorpion, and
Yeah.
I just did a kind of a revisited on a Sig Scorpion 1911 45, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's what, about a $1,400 gun new,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought it well used for, I'm looking at it right now, $742.49 out the door.
Wow, that's a
Um,
heck of a deal.
I bought several Dan Westons for under $1,000. I bought a Les Bear for, I think it was 1,100. I bought a Wilson Pro that was special ordered, and the whole build sheet on it came just shy of $4,000. I bought it gently used with, I think it was 8 magazines, 8 Wilson magazines, and I paid
Mhm.
1,900 for it. So, again, it's a matter of priorities and what you're willing to save for. But again, if you just cut out the Starbucks, even if you only do McDonald's every day and you spend $5 at the McDonald's drive-through, you can spend $1 at home on eating, like I say, decent, whether it's toast or Wheaties or whatever,
Right.
and you can do it at home for $1. You're saving $4 a day, 250 days of work. That's $1,000.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's I completely agree. Also, um, what you just touched on, you could talk about that, like shopping around and finding deals. Someone in my first chat mentioned pawn shops. Which I don't know if you do pawn shops. I don't really shop pawn shops anymore. But used guns, consignment guns,
Yep.
great way to find deals.
Yeah, well, the Wilson that I bought, it was on consignment. One of those things I happened to stop in the store and look at it, and I wasn't fond of the fact it was a Cerakote green, but hey, it was a Wilson, and it was a decent price. And I told myself that if it was there the next time I stopped in, I had to get it. It was meant to be.
Yeah.
And of course, I asked the salesperson to call the owner and see if he'll. I made an offer and said, see if he'll
Right.
take the offer. If he'll take it, I'll buy it. Well, he took it, so I bought it. It was substantially less than they had it listed for. So shop around and don't be afraid to bargain.
Yeah, and that is the great thing about consignments. In the chat, you can chime in maybe if you found any deals like this, but that is the great thing about consignments specifically is whatever the price listed, that's just their highest ask price. You can ask the shop to call whoever put it on, as he just mentioned, and oftentimes for them, a little bit less, depending on the, if it's a $1,500 gun and you call and say, well, hey, I've got 1,100 cash, would you take it? And sometimes, depending on if they really want to get rid of it or they just need the money, they'll take it. I see it all the time.
I bought a Glock that I had absolutely. Let me see if I can look it up here. I had absolutely no interest in this particular Glock, but where are we here? It was a Glock 30, and I bought it used. And actually, it turns out I knew that the guy who had consigned it, but I ended up paying $480 for it. And with that, it came with 6 mags and 320 rounds of 45 caliber ammo. So really, I'm paying for the ammo and almost getting the gun for free.
Wow, that's a heck of a deal too. Goodness.
Yeah, another one of those where I wanted the ammo more than I wanted the gun, so I asked him if they'd call the owner and see what he'd take for it, and now I own a Glock 30 that is a really nice gun. That I don't take it out of the safe very often, but again, look around and I see that William Manny is saying he's a big fan of Dan Wesson's, and I kind of got sold on Dan Wesson's. I mean, to me, it is the premier production 1911. And I've got several and been real happy, but I think I bought a blemish off of I don't know if I can mention Gunbroker here or not, but Gunbroker has been my friend. And then I bought several of them used, and I don't think I ever bought a new Dan Wesson other than a blemish model. And again, it's going to get blemished throwing it out of the holster a few times.
For sure, yeah. Absolutely. Well, especially, I use Kydex holsters primarily, so all my guns get scuffed.
Yeah,
literally all of them. So
anyway, affordable is different things to different people, but things can be affordable if you make it a priority.
Yeah, I agree. Priority and patience and shop for deals. Put those 3 things together, and anything can be affordable.
Yeah, I mean, even my Browning Satori, when I finally got into trap, I was doing just terrible with a Remington 870. And I tried a guy's Browning up at the range and was sold on it. And they happened to have the state shoot just a couple of weeks after that. So my wife and I agreed on how much we were willing to spend on a good trap gun. And went up to one of the vendors up there. And he had a bunch of used guns and a bunch of new ones. And I'm sitting there looking at them and shouldered a couple. And it wasn't anything that really excited me except this Browning Satori. And the guy finally saw me eyeing it. He picked it up and told me to close my eyes and shoulder the gun. And it was just phenomenal. 725 high rib trap used. And I can't afford this Satori. It's a $4,000 gun. There's no way in the world I can afford it.
Absolutely.
Walked out of there for under $2,000.
Wow.
And I had enough left from what we brought to buy 10 flats of trap ammo.
Yeah. And that's one for me that I'd be like, I put that in the car guys category. Like I don't, I'll buy a $400 over and under all day, and be, the Stoger comes to mind. I don't have one, but the Stoger makes one. It's about $400.
I've got
And,
a Stoger that a Stoger Condor over and
mhm,
under that I paid $400 for used.
mhm.
But again, nothing beats that Browning 725. It's
Yeah.
I broke 25 at my first 25, my first 50 straight with that gun,
Oh
and I
wow.
haven't been able to do it with any other gun.
You got the patch and everything, and
Yeah, I don't wear it, but
yeah,
and then once I got into YouTube, I kind
just
of ended up not shooting trap as much.
right. Oh, we were chatting about 1911s. I wanted you to talk for a minute about your 1911 series. Just kind of talk about, like, I'm not a 1911 guy. Really. I mean, I owned two other ones. The basic GI model, except it had the spurred hammer, no sights on it, so it was a little more modern. And then I had a Kimber Custom 2. Just a nice gun. Actually have more views on the video I did on that gun than any other gun on my channel. So maybe I should get more. But talk about your 1911 series, and what should we be looking for, like, when we're comparing 1911s?
I bought my first 1911 right after I got out of the service. I think I paid $111 for a Colt lightweight Commander, and initially carried it occasionally off duty, and then the department policy was that you couldn't carry a single action on duty or off duty. So okay, I kind of put it to the side. But just something about the 1911 that to me just feels right in the hand. The sliding trigger rather than a pivoting trigger is almost impossible to beat.
Yeah.
But then 38 years in law enforcement, I really couldn't carry it. And then after I retired, I carried a Glock for 24 years. I could qualify with no problem with my Glock. But after I retired, a couple of different guys said, you got to try a Kimber. Well, okay. Maybe someday. And I happened to stop into a gun shop probably 2 months after I retired, and they had a whole bunch of Kimbers. I put one in the hand, and the guy said, you got to dry fire it. I did. And it followed me home. And that it started an addiction. I'm Rider's Range, and I'm addicted to 1911s. I have a problem, but and that started my quest for the perfect 1911 for carry and the perfect 1911 for range work. So again, Gunbroker became my friend, and I ended up testing. I think it was 44 different 1911s, 45, 9mm. A couple of 40s, 5-inch, 4.25-inch, 4-inch, 3.9-inch, 3.5-inch, down to 3-inch, and two at a time. Did a comparison on them until I figured out what I really wanted and what was really going to work for me.
Yeah.
So it started as a quest, and that's what really started my YouTube channel.
Yeah. And then you picked winners too. Didn't you do a video where you, like, for each size category, you picked, like, this is the one that is the best?
I did. I guess kind of a problem with that is the series ended with 44 different guns that I tested over 22 videos, two at a time, and I was kind of late in doing my follow up as to what I really liked. So when I ended the series, I did a follow up on this is to me my first choice for the carry gun, but I had to pick out of those 44 guns, and then the first choice for a range gun again out of those 44. The problem is after that series I continued to shoot 1911s, and what I actually ended up carrying is not, in fact, what I carry and what I shoot in the range was not included in the original test. So
Right.
it's an ever evolving process.
Yeah. So William Maney that says, and I will absolutely talk to this too, but do you have any experience shooting Korth or Nighthawks?
I just was eyeing a Korth in the display case down at my local gun shop as I was walking out of the range tonight, and I mean that's so far out of my league. But Nighthawks, I've shot a number. In fact, this was the one anomaly in the Great Affordable 1911 series was a Nighthawk T4.
Right.
And in fact, I mentioned that people are going to give me a lot of grief because a Nighthawk is not affordable.
No.
The Nighthawk T4 that I got came in well under the top of my affordable price because it was a range gun, and it was a well-used range gun,
Sure.
but it is still a beautiful gun. And actually, that is back to the mothership right now, having some cosmetic work done on it, having a little modification of the frame, and having it refinished and a couple other things to it. So I like Nighthawks, and it's as a semi-custom gun. They're
they're not semi.
yeah.
So I'll go ahead and put in my 2 cents on that. I have toured the Nighthawk factory. I had the opportunity when I was working on the road. We got invited we were doing a show in southern Missouri, and they're located in Arkansas. It was like right across the border. And so the morning of, at like 8 o'clock in the morning, they gave us a private tour of all their facilities. One of the coolest things I've ever experienced, getting a private tour, seeing the CNC machines, and I literally, so that may be the only part that's done by more than one person, is running the CNC. Like, they really mill the slides themselves. They mill the frames themselves. They start with a block of steel and they put it in the CNC machine and cut it out to the shape, a 1911. From there, it's one person working on your gun. So when you buy a gun from 1911, it's one person, the whole process. All right, he goes and cuts all the parts and hand fits them to the gun, your safety and your takedown lever, all that stuff. It is hand fit that same person the whole way through the process. And then they test fire it, and we did get to shoot a couple that day. They have a little range there. It's in like a trailer. It's kind of a little tiny indoor range. Had 2 lanes, and let us shoot some of them. But really, really cool experience to get to do that. So they're not semi-custom. They are, unless I'm misunderstanding something about that, but that sounds like fully custom to me.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people think that the Wilson, Nighthawk, and whatever are custom guns, and I call them semi-custom because you can walk into a gun store and you can buy a Wilson, you can buy a Nighthawk, you can buy an Ed Brown, you can buy a Les Bear, but you can't generally buy a Chambers unless it's used, or some of the true custom gunsmith who it's a bespoke gun. It may be a 1911 and it may look like other 1911s, but it's something where the maker and the customer get together and determine exactly what they want. And it still may be somewhat of a parts bin gun where they may get a cart barrel and may get a slide from some other company that makes slides. They may use a Colt frame, but that still is all custom. Whereas Nighthawk, Wilson, and Ed Brown and some of the others are, to me, semi, because they got a catalog, and here you pick from the catalog.
Okay, if that's what you mean, then yes, I agree with that, because you can go on, even if you don't buy it from a store, you can go on the Nighthawk website, for example, and say, I want this model 1911.
Right.
And it costs $3,000 or whatever, and then maybe it is the one person making that gun, but it's still a production gun because it's the same gun that they made the last time they made a gun.
Yeah, and you can customize a lot of that, but it's still that's why I call it semi-custom, because it's got they've got stock models and you can option various things on the model. Whereas if I got a hold of Mary Ann Carniak, the Accurizer up here in Michigan, and told her I want a gun built just for me, and I'm going to bring you a frame and a slide, and here's how I want it to end when we're done. We go back and forth, and she builds a custom gun for me. I haven't quite gotten to that point yet, but maybe someday.
Yeah. We have a guy here in town that does that too. I should do that sometime. Just go back, hey, make me a gun.
Yeah, I'm going to wait till I see how my Nighthawk turns out when it's and again, this will be again, more semi-custom because I'm having a couple things done to it that weren't offered on the T4 originally. So it'll be semi, but it'll be the only one like it, and it'll be mine. So it's been down to Nighthawk for about 2 months now. I don't know when it'll come back, but if I got to start saving money for it instead of buying guns, I guess.
You got to start your own process of affordable there, right?
Yeah, I may actually have to sell a couple.
Yeah.
Although after all the grief I gave my wife when I sold the Python, I mean, I kicked myself daily that complained. She finally said, "Stop! Don't ever sell another gun unless I talk to her first."
Yeah, there you go.
So I may not be selling anything right away.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, that's generally been my solution too. If I can't afford it, like immediately, I'm like, okay, let me go sell a couple that I have that I don't need, and then I'll be able to afford it, you know. And I look up the values to calculate, like, okay, I need to make this much, so okay, I'll sell these guns. And I looked at the safe the other day, and I was like, I don't have any more that I want to get rid of. That's a problem.
Yeah, I picked out a few that I bought specifically for testing and doing a video on, and I have no desire to keep them. So those will at some point go.
That's typically what I do as well. You guys that are watching this, it's not cheap running a gun channel. Okay, it's not cheap at all. We have to continuously buy ammo. We have to continuously seek out that new gun because y'all want to hear about it. And so when we see it, we will typically buy it right off the bat. Or, you know, if we know someone, like now I have friends at the gun shop that know about my channel, and they'll offer me, you know, like, hey, we've got that gun. You want to borrow it? Yeah, I'm like the Hellcat Pro. I think they may be watching right now as well. So shout out to you guys if you are watching. But you know, they were like, hey, we bought the Hellcat Pro if you want to try it out. And I'm like, yes, please. I will take you up on that. So yeah, it is expensive to maintain. And I do, like you said, buy guns that I have no intention of keeping. Like I'll buy it and then shoot it, do a video or two on it. And then if the video is popular, I'll hold on to it for a while. But if it's not, then I'm like, okay, time to move on.
Yeah, and of course, then trying to guess what's going to be popular or not. Obviously, a lot of the new guns are going to show up. The most popular video that I have on my channel ever is a Rossi Tuffy 410 shotgun. I paid $125 for that gun on a whim. Put a video up on a whim, and it has been probably 4 times the views of the next popular video on my channel. So you never know what's going to hit.
Yeah, you really don't. And that's funny. I would not have guessed that. I mean, by the number of videos you've put out and the quality of videos, and I've seen that video, in fact, and I would not have guessed that at all.
No.
That's because didn't you put you put an adult sized stock on it?
Just did that one, and let's see if I don't lose you here. That one, I think I had to declare that as not suitable for all advertisers or something, if I remember right. I'm trying to scroll down to find it here.
Oh, they called it a gun modification or something.
Yeah. Where am I? Why am I not finding that one? Oh, come on. It's got to be on here somewhere. Yeah, but it's because it's a modified firearm. I must have really passed that somewhere. Yeah, I've had some that have been not suitable for all advertisers, just on a whim from whoever was doing the manual review on it. Yeah, here we go. That one has only had 556 views, whereas the Tuffy shotgun itself has had well over 100,000 views.
You know, and I've experienced that too. I did the CZ Scorpion. That video, the unboxing and first impressions of that, one of the most watched videos I've done in the last year. Just absolutely taken off. And so I've done several follow-up videos on it, and you know, thinking, okay, well, that's something that people want to see. I should talk more about it. And just it's almost like nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess they just wanted to see me unbox it then.
Yeah, I mean, something like I did a quick comparison between the Kimber Micro 9 and the Ultra Carry 2, and yeah,
Mhm.
that thing's that's my second most popular video at like 70, almost 75,000 views, and for my channel, that's pretty good. But you just never
Mhm.
know what's going to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and back to William Manny's question. Boy, I wish I could shoot a Korth sometime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but those are that's a $4,000 revolver. Do I have any? I'd have to win the lottery. Somebody told me in order to win the lottery, you actually have to buy tickets. And I keep, I keep thinking the odds are about the same whether or not you buy one.
Yeah.
So no, and unless I win, yeah, and again, priorities. I'm driving a 22-year-old car with 206,000 miles on it. Um, so I'm gonna have to keep driving that one for a while before I even think about a Korth.
Yeah. So you're not a car guy then, I think. um,
Yeah, and then you're right. The expenses are. I mean, it's for buying the guns and buying the ammo,
mhm.
and for me buying the equipment for my own range.
Yeah.
That never gets cheap. But even buying ammo, I probably shoot at least half of what I shoot is reloaded ammo. But even now, trying
Okay.
to find primers to reload.
Right.
I found bullets the other day. I got plenty of powder. I got more cases than I need, but trying to find primers, that's not working so good right now.
Yeah, I hear you. And for anyone watching now, we talked with Jenny J 1911 last week a whole lot about reloading, and how that can be affordable, and just the problem being finding components at the moment. So if you haven't watched that, go back and watch that. It's a really good chat, and we did talk a lot about reloading.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
surprised. Yeah, Jenny just
okay.
got into it recently, and I mean, she's gone whole hog on that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Her channel is like it's going through the roof. And she, yeah, and I mean, to believe that she just got into reloading and then on a whim, like, kind of like you just started a YouTube channel, and it's like seeing where it's going. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed the chat that you and she had, and covered a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah. So I've never shot a Korth. They did show us on that tour. They showed us the Korths, but we didn't get to shoot them. So sadly.
Yeah, I think the one they've got at my local gun shop is if I want to say it's a 44. And again, that would be really cool to have, but
Yeah.
it's tricked out with rails the whole bit. What am I going to do with it? Is it really going to shoot that much better than my Smith 327? I don't know.
Yeah. And I think the 44 is the one that's most well known of theirs, isn't it? Or do they
Um,
make a 357 too? Or
yeah, I actually had the 44 that's in there now is the first one of those I've seen. They've had several 357s in the past, and they've got
oh,
several different models of them.
mhm.
And actually, I mean, Nighthawk doesn't make those. They're made in Germany.
They're
And
Germany Nighthawk importer for them, right? Or
yeah,
something like that.
I don't know. When you toured the factory, they say anything about any mods they do to the Korth?
I don't think so. No, I don't remember them saying anything like that. But they definitely had them there because they showed them to us. Uh,
Korth speed loaders are about all I've been able to afford at this point. Yeah, I'll go along with that.
what is a Korth speed loader? I don't know what that is. I was reading that too. Is
Uh,
that different from like a Safariland speed loader or
have you seen the Kimber K6 speed loaders?
yeah.
Yeah, they're nicely tuned aluminum. And actually, I think there's another company that makes those, but these have the Kimber logo on it. You're going to pay 3 times what you'll pay for a Safari Land or whatever.
Oh, okay. So it's same thing. It's just a little nicer. It's more custom fit to the cylinder than the generic fit of like the Safariland or what's the other one that's available everywhere?
HKS is what I use.
HKS. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I have a
Um,
couple of HKSs in around, and I have a couple of Safarilands. But actually, when I carry a revolver, I tend to carry speed strips. Um, they fit in my pocket much better, and just go with it.
Yeah, when I started in law enforcement back in the 70s, revolvers were the only thing back then, and we were carrying initially dump pouches, and then we finally managed to go to speed strips, and then I finally convinced the department to go to speed loaders.
Mhm.
Um, just getting anything modernization was kind of like pulling teeth back then, anyway.
Yeah. I will tell you, it was same in the military.
Yeah,
Everybody thinks that the military has all the new cool, they don't. Okay. Um, it's like a 20-year process. You know how long it took them to choose the M17 as the new pistol for the military? Like 10 years. It was a really long time.
yeah.
And then, of course, SIG just won the rifle contract too. But I'm sure that's been around since like the early 2000s that they've been trying to replace the M4 and M16. So,
Well, finally with the SIG, they're getting a little bit away from the one size fits all.
mhm.
I mean, obviously the 1911 was one size fits all, but then the Beretta that was in the military for the longest time, one size fits
Mhm.
all.
Yeah.
My daughter had to qualify in the Air Force with a Beretta, and
Mhm.
she hated that. I mean, she's not
Me
that big
too.
to start with, but I mean, she couldn't get a good straight grip on it. Her hand was cocked off to the side just so she could reach the trigger on it. And of course, she had to make sure that since she was the boss, she qualified better than anybody else in her unit. But she had to struggle to do it. One size fits all. And now they're starting to get away from that.
Yeah, and I love it because I love the P320. That's the gun I carry more than any other gun. I've trained with it more than any of my other pistols. Um, and I hated the Beretta too.
Yeah.
I own one now. I bought an M9 a few years back, and it's not as bad now. Um, but I think it's because I just have the memory of carrying it, and so now this one is mine. It's not, it didn't belong anymore. This one is my M9, so I like it better. And also, I don't have to carry it. I can choose
Yeah.
whatever gun I want to carry.
Yes,
So,
and one thing I haven't done, you're bringing up the 320 that you're carrying.
mhm.
The is the 320 and I guess the compact, they make something smaller than the compact, don't they, now? The 320
I actually have a 320 subcompact too.
subcompact. Is that and again, I haven't yet put them side by side. It's one of the things on my
Mhm.
radar at some point I'd like to do, but is that gonna be really that much different than the 365 XL?
Um, yes and no, because it takes 20 magazines.
Okay,
If I often do, it's kind of like the Glock 6 thing. If you carry a Glock 19, carry a Glock 26 as a backup because you can use the same magazines.
right.
The 320 subcompact, same thing. So I can put my 15 round magazines in there if I need to. At least that was the idea. And also, the subcompact is a 12 round capacity. It's not a 10 round. So
Yeah, and again, I haven't yet put the 2 side by side. Maybe you've done that,
I have
since you
not. No, I need to do that. That's a good idea. Um, I actually don't own a 365. I own an XL, but not a regular 365.
yeah, and I'm thinking the 320 subcompact, might be relatively comparable to the XL.
Yeah, yeah, it is. The compact is going to be a little wider, um, but probably height wise, yeah, it's about the same, I would think.
Yeah, if you do a comparison on that, I'd be interested to see what your take is on it. I like my 365 XL now that I've got the Wilson grip module on it, but the grip itself was it just too skinny in my hand. I never
Mhm.
really got comfortable with it, but with the Wilson module on, it's nice. So that's why I was wondering if it's worthwhile to look at going up to something like the 320.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I have multiples. I have two of the compacts. One of them has the optic on it. Um, I have the M17. I've got the AXG Scorpion. That was the first SIG Custom Works gun. And then I have the subcompact. So quite a few. I'm a fan of the 320 series of pistols. Um, and it's that's why I hate to say like to buy an HK because it's they're the same way. Like I feel like I won HK and fall in love, and I'm going to end up owning 20 HKs before I know it.
Not hard to do.
Yeah. So, let's switch. I'm going to ask the chat what your carry pistol is. If you guys do carry, what are you carrying? And then talk about your carry choice. I know you have a couple, and I can name a couple of them off the top of my head, but what are you carrying?
What am I carrying?
Yeah.
I can't show it right now, but
No, you can't show it, but you can talk about it.
not on this one. Believe it or not, right now I'm carrying a Smith & Wesson CSX.
Really?
I
Did you get over the trigger thing, I guess?
Not completely. I still have to shoot it more like a revolver. My finger has to come off the trigger in order to get it away from that silly tab.
Right.
I've been reading recently that that's mainly an added drop safety. But hey, if you got the if you got the manual safety on, it's not going to go off anyway. But I think I still personally think that Smith did that just because so many people expect to see a trigger tab safety.
Right.
But I finally managed to get a couple other 12-round magazines. The reason I didn't carry it initially is because I want to carry it with the 12-round mag in it, but I also want to carry a backup mag.
Sure.
And I don't want to carry the 10 as a backup. So I waited until I got a couple more 12-round mags, and I've been carrying it. I've been shooting it a fair amount lately, and I made sure I ran through all my duty ammo and all that. It works. And, for a summer gun, my Staccato C may very well sit in the safe this summer.
Wow, and I thought you were going to say the Wilson Combat, the EDC-9, or the Staccato that you just mentioned. I thought one of those two was going to be what you. I'm shocked. I did not know that.
Well, Staccato C has been the C Duo with a Swamp Fox Sentinel on it has been my carry gun for a year and a half now. And I really, really, really like that gun.
Yeah.
But again, for summer carry under light clothes, the CSX is still a similar manual of arms, and it's a lot smaller and easier to carry. There's one coming out by a company that I've done some testing for. They assured me that I'd get one of their early samples, and I can't say anything about it right now. But when that comes out, if it's 90% of what they're saying it's going to be, that's going to be a really exciting type of carry gun.
Okay.
So stay tuned on that.
Look forward to that. Yeah, I'm sure you'll do a video on it when you're allowed to, and I'll be watching. That's crazy. I did not know that. Or I didn't expect you to say that. I saw a video on the reasoning. It's, if y'all want to look it up, it's Robbie Wheaton. He's a gunsmith, and he's explanation on the reset on the CSX. He kind of broke up through part of that. Have you? I was saying Robbie Wheaton. Do you know who that is?
Name rings a bell.
He's a gunsmith, and he did a video why the CSX trigger reset is happening, like internals, and pointed to the parts and explained why it's happening. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the reset itself never really bothered me. And I know when I first got mine, in fact, before I even bought the thing, my local gun shop said, "Hey, we got one in. Do you want to do a tabletop on it?" So I did the tabletop, and when I went downstairs after that, I said, "Can I buy it?"
Right.
I read some of the horror stories about the reset, and I never had an issue with it. It's just that trigger tab means that I can't stop at the reset. I've got to go all the way out until that tab finally releases, and then get my finger back on it.
Yeah, and like I said in the video, I haven't had that issue either. Maybe it's because I'm just used to the trigger tab from shooting striker fired guns. For the time, like I didn't miss the false reset at all. I guess it's just how I shoot. It didn't really bother me at all. And my conclusion, granted, I only shot it one time because it wasn't my gun. But my conclusion was, man, if I was in the market for a new carry gun, I would buy this gun in a heartbeat. I would carry it. It's a great little pistol. I
like it. And like I say, it's either the Staccato C with an optic, or one of the others that I really like is a 365 XL. I've got a Holosun on that. And now that I got the Wilson grip module on it, and I made sure that it's got the manual safety. So it's a similar manual of arms. and I still like it. I see that William said he carried a Glock 26 for years.
Yeah.
And I carried a Glock of one model or another for the final 24 years of my career. And the last 10 years, it was a Glock 27 on duty and off duty. And again, trigger tab or not, I mean, hey, the gun worked.
Colt Officer 1911 outside the waistband and Taurus G2 inside the waistband. Interesting.
Yeah, and again, I haven't shot a G2. I've got the G3C, and again, for a budget gun, I mean, certainly an affordable gun.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
I got manual safety on it, but that I had a little bit of teething issues at first with duty ammo. I had to find out what it really liked, but now that the gun and I have come to terms, if I'm knocking around the yard here, working on the range, I don't have any hesitation to carry that gun.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, my G2C has it's close to 3,000 rounds through it, somewhere around there. I don't do exact round counts, but I know the classes that I've run it through, and yes, I have legitimately run it through classes, like all day range classes where we're shooting several hundred rounds in one go.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing's just tank. It just goes and goes and goes. It's insane. So yeah, Taurus G2C, G3C, G3, all those. I was actually surprised the G3, the G3X or the XL. I can't remember which one. I did a video on that, and it did not run that way, and I was really upset. And then I shot one when I was in last month, and it was like the Taurus booth, and I shot theirs, and it worked just fine. So.
Well, that's where I was disappointed in the GX4. Having a good experience with the G3C, and then I shot the GX4. I really didn't care for that gun.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked most of the time, but I guess it was reliable enough, and it just didn't seem to work for me the way the G3C did.
Yeah. Nick says, evening. Hi, Nick. Good to see you again, buddy. Let's see.
I see Odie is carrying a Colt Officer 1911. Love those little officer-sized guns.
Yeah. What is your favorite? This maybe you probably can't name exactly one, but what would be your favorite 1911?
It's kind of like asking me which of my grandchildren or which of my kids is my favorite.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
not to be your own either. I mean, name one like your dream 1911.
Kind of sacred,
made out of moon rock or whatever. I don't know if you've seen those.
Yeah,
they make dinosaur bones and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, the $1 Million Cabot twins or whatever.
Yeah.
Meteorite.
That's what it was. They made one out of a meteorite.
Right. Yeah, it's not a true 1911. In fact, they call it a 2011. I really, really like my Staccato C, although the C, not the C2, but the C is basically a 1911 with a modular polymer aluminum frame. Same thing, takes 1911 mags. But if I'm sticking strictly to a more traditional 1911, the Dan Wesson ECO was my carried gun for quite a while. It's a 3.5-inch barrel officer frame. Really like that. Like the Dan Wesson Guardian. Got a couple of Kimbers that I still carry. I can't pick one.
Yeah, I knew you. I just thought I'd throw it out there. You mentioned the not this is at my local gun shop. I don't know, last week or the week before, a guy brought it in, wanted to get rid of it. And with the hollow sun on it and 4 spare mags, so 5 mags total. And I was like, dang, I should buy this right now because I'm never gonna get one that cheap, let alone with that's a $200 optic on top of it. The spare mags are, I don't know, how much does a Staccato mag go for? Like $50?
You're talking for the double stack, the 2011 type?
This was a Staccato C, so it was a single stack.
Yeah, C. So that takes regular Chip McCormick, Wilson, even Mecca, some of those. Those are going to be $35 mags.
Yeah. Anyway, 5 of those. I mean, that's $150 right there,
Yeah.
and a $200 optic. So that's a I mean that's a whole lot of value, and that goes back to where the conversation today, looking for deals. I mean, man, be patient and wait for something like that to come along, and then you don't have to pay $2,000 for a
Yep.
staccato, right?
Yeah. Of course, since then I bought a C, a C2, and a P, um, and bought all of those new. So yeah, I know what you mean about paying for them.
Oh man, Nick. Oh man, go to your range tomorrow and rent one. Oh my goodness. If you're in Tennessee, I will come find you and we will go shoot together. It's 22 years and never hired a 1911.
Yeah, there's so many people that say the 1911, it's 100 and what, 110, 111 years old now, that the
Mhm.
final acceptance. Actually, the design's even older than that. And they say that, it's antiquated and whatever, but John Browning just got it right.
There's just something different about them. I agree. It's not my gun of choice. I prefer striker fired guns, but I love 1911s. It's like I want to have a 1911. I don't want to get rid of a 1911. I would sell a striker fired gun and go get a different striker fired gun in a heartbeat. But my 1911s, like it actually, even though I sold the Kimber and the Rock Island, I didn't really want to sell them. I turned around and bought the Sig, which is a nicer gun that I wanted more. But I've looked back times kind of like with you and your Colt, and I'm like, man, maybe I should have held on to those. Those are nice guns.
Yeah.
And they just feel different. The first one, the Rock Island was the first one I bought. And I remember going to the range the first time firing, and I was still a fairly inexperienced pistol shooter at the time, but I had shot it better than I had ever shot a pistol before. I'm just putting groups in like insanely better than I had with any of my 9mm. And I was literally like, where has this been my whole life? Why did no one tell me about the
Yeah.
911 and how awesome it is?
Yeah, the grip angle, the again, the sliding versus pivoting trigger, you can't beat that trigger on a good, even a mediocre 1911 trigger is better than most striker fires, with some exceptions. And people may take issue with this, but to me, the 1911 is the safest semi-auto you can carry, because it's got two user-operable safeties you have to defeat, whereas
Mhm.
many striker fired guns are 100% cocked with no safety.
Right.
People wouldn't carry a cocked revolver,
Right.
um, certainly with no safety on it, but yet they have no hesitation carrying a cocked striker fired gun with no
Mhm.
safety.
Yeah.
And that's what the 1911 to me is, that, with two user operable safeties, you can't beat it.
Yeah.
Except it
Absolutely.
does require a lot more training to be able to reactively grip it properly so you defeat the grip safety, and to be able to thumb off that manual safety as you come up on target. It takes a lot of training to make those habits.
It does. Absolutely. And I mean, you're an instructor. I'm an instructor as well. Um, training, we understand it, and we probably tell everyone we know, like, you need to go get training. Training is important. I'm literally taking a class this weekend. It's a class I've been waiting for a long time for. The Modern Samurai Project, the red dot pistol class,
Yep.
2-day red dot pistol class. Um, I paid for it like 2 years ago and wasn't able to go. So they said, okay, let us know in the future, what date you want to go to. And then that date approached and something else came up. Said, okay, we'll reschedule you one time. And then the next class that was available was full. And I was like, okay, can I get on a waiting list? And they emailed me Monday morning and said, hey, we've got a spot in this weekend's class. If you can go, let us know, like, right now. And I was like, yes, I'm coming. What do I need to do? Where do I need to sign? I'll be there. So I'm super excited about that. Finally going to go take the project class, um, and hopefully pass on that knowledge to some of my students. And
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, you'll do some follow up on that on your channel.
oh, I absolutely will. Yep, I asked them about filming, and they told me just check with other students, make sure they're okay with it. And if not, avoid filming them, that type of stuff. So I will definitely be taking some video while I'm there, even if it's just I put the GoPro on my hat, and so that's just my point of view or something.
Right.
But yeah, there will definitely be some type of video, at least at a minimum, an after action report that says, hey, go take this class. It was super awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about that. And I don't know if at my age I'm up to 2-day classes or not anymore. I did the gun sight 5.5-day class years ago, but I was a whole lot younger
Yeah.
then. I don't know if I got the stamina to do 2 full long days on the range now.
That's on my list too, going out to gun sight. Clint Smith out there in Oregon, that's on my list. Heck, I'm 2 hours away from tactical response, James Yeager. I still haven't been there. So
Where's the Modern Samurai class going to be?
it is at a range here in Nashville called
Oh, cool.
Royal Range. Yeah. So it's
Cool.
literally across town. I don't need to get a hotel or anything. Just get up a little early. 3
That makes
minutes
it
and
nice.
I'm there. Yeah. Because I thought about that, like if the one here in Nashville was full, then okay, maybe I look into going to one in Kentucky or Ohio or Indiana or something, or maybe Georgia, and just spending the money on a hotel room and staying a couple nights. And but yeah, this just kind of fell into my lap. I was like, yes, I'm going.
Cool. I'm excited for you. Looking forward to your reports on that, though.
We're just over. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up? What we'll be talking about?
Yeah, hey, yeah, thanks for inviting me on this. It's been cool sitting here chatting with you. I mean, you and I have corresponded back and forth for a couple of years now, and it's
Mhm.
nice being able to be invited. I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Glad to finally talk to you face to face. And so yeah, like you mentioned, I've watched your channel grow, and you've been watching mine for a couple years now, and it's just awesome to get to chat with you about some of this stuff. And so, well, that with that, then I guess we'll wrap it up because we don't have any more comments to cover. So, thank you, Riders Range, for being on the channel tonight and chatting with us. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks again for the invitation. You all have a good night now.